go back to one of our top stories this afternoon. Power cuts expected to continue right up to Friday this week because infrastructure failures have increased. Energy expert and analyst Ted Blom joins me now to discuss this, along with the impact it has now and in the near future. Mr. Blom, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on today here on eNCA this afternoon. I guess we all understand in one way or another the impact of load shedding and these power cuts on South Africa's economy, on our daily lives. But the longer it is going, I think the impact might even be worse. What are your thoughts?
No, I think you're absolutely right. If one just goes back to Eskom's outlook, they themselves have predicted 326 days of load shedding over the next 365 days. So that's just 40 days without load shedding in the next year, which is a total disaster. I mean, I can't understand how everybody can be complacent about this, because the longer it carries on, the more jobs and more businesses will be closing down. And we already sit with the highest unemployment rate in the world.
Yeah, and we saw the GDP figures for the second quarter, April, May, June, showing a decline of 0.7%, largely because of load shedding, because the manufacturing sector and the agricultural sector suffered quite a big blow because of power cuts.
Absolutely, and that together with the administered prices going up so much, which is mainly Eskom. I mean, we're looking at an inflation rate going through the sky, through the roof, and that just becomes more burdensome for you and me and every Joe in the street. It's just an untenable situation that now actually requires drastic input. It's time for the government to get off their hands and to start taking action, and drastic action at this. We can't wait any longer. It's now 3 years under the new management at Eskom, and absolutely nothing has happened. In fact, I think we are in a far worse situation than we were in January 2020 when the new management was appointed.
Should this be treated like a national emergency crisis?
I called this an emergency or national crisis more than 6 months ago, and everybody laughed at me and scoffed at me. But the fact of the matter is, when people are going to be stuck at home without jobs and without income, then I think a new reality will come to bear. We can't carry on like this. I mean, any energy analyst worth their salt will tell you that this is unsustainable, and it's massively damaging to the economy. Never mind our poor school children who are trying to write the end-of-year exams. And I think of matrics in particular at this stage of the year.
Now, let's just talk about Koeberg, the Koeberg nuclear power plant. Next, Mr. Blom, I see that they've received a number of generators that are required, or steam generators for Koeberg power plants, but one of them apparently dropped more than a year and a half ago or so in China, and now it's been fixed, it's coming back. The question around the safety of Koeberg nuclear power plant for a longer period has been questioned. What are your views?
Well, I am concerned. I know that the same sister stations of Koeberg in France, half of those that were built in more or less the same era, have been declared unfit for life extension. In other words, they cannot be extended in terms of what was intended. And they were only looking at a 10-year extension. And the rationale behind the failure to be able to be extended relates to excessive corrosion in the core of the generation unit. So, and we will only find that out when Eskom opens up Koeberg completely to get to the core of the unit to see whether it's refurbishable or not. And France had the advantage; they had spare capacity, so they could open them up and do a look-see before they started ordering parts and lining up the refurbishment. Yeah, because we're in a very tight generation situation, we don't have the luxury of stopping Koeberg, opening it up, and to see whether it's worthwhile refurbishing or not. So I think Koeberg has the possibility of becoming an unmitigated disaster if when they come to the core of it, they find that it's not refurbishable and they've ordered all these spare parts. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, already it's an unmitigated disaster because of the extensions. And the fact of the matter is, I don't think Koeberg will make its deadline for refurbishment and recommissioning before its license expires in 2024. I think it's too late, too little, too late. And again, the blame must be laid fairly and squarely at the hands of Eskom. It's incompetence, gross incompetence. They've lost 40, 50 nuclear specialists, as well as specialists throughout the organization. And South Africa will become the laughing stock of the world if this eventuates.
Thank you very much for your time and analysis this hour. That's energy expert Ted Blom, as we look at the trials and tribulations of Eskom and the impact on all of us.